Welcome back to Copper Star Precision. I know I'm late with the strategy videos for December Course of Fire for NRL22, so we're going to remedy that situation right now. So I apologize to anyone who's already shot this match at the first Sunday of the month. Got busy with Thanksgiving and some work commitments. But other than that, we can just look at some match footage. You can see what I did, what worked, what didn't work, and there was a lot that didn't work this match. Relatively calm conditions, just having the sun in our faces for most of the match was a little bit of a challenge. You'll see me adjusting my hat in a lot of the stages to block the sun. As far as the Course of Fire goes, I think there's maybe one or two difficult stages. The rest are pretty straightforward, things we've seen before. So we can just start with stage one and we can roll the match footage.
Stand by. That's all large, small, in each of the sides. Okay, loading is ready. Impact. 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 Time 106.84.
So stage one went pretty poorly for me. This is the hardest stage of the match by far. I'll put the stage description up here somewhere. But basically, we have a barrel, we have a prone position, and a sawhorse. I'll put up also a picture of my dope card for this stage. And essentially, I just have sort of the positions laid out, which targets we're supposed to be engaging in which order. And at the bottom there, I'll have my holdovers. I think holdovers are very important. As you saw in the footage, I timed out on this stage. I did not get to take the last shot and under the time conditions. And there's just a lot of movement, and it's awkward because I like to use 2 points of contact on the barrel, and I think that was kind of the downfall here. I thought having 2 points of contact on the barrel was going to help because we're going to have to go prone for two of the positions anyway. And then I use my bag in front of my rifle. I think what I should have done is slid the bipod all the way forward and used a bag on the edge of the barrel and then use that as a rear bag and then as a front bag like you normally would off of the sawhorse, more towards the balance point of the rifle. I think that would have been better. It would have been faster transitions. You know, getting everything situated on the barrel is extremely stable with the 2 points of contact, bipod in the front, bag in the rear, but you're kind of locked in. You're not really able to pan as well as you might want to or find targets easily. I probably also should have backed off my magnification. I think I was close to 18 power. I should have maybe gone down to 16 or 14, get a wider field of view, able to acquire targets much faster. It is tough with that first target on the KYL, even though it's a 1-inch target, it's relatively small and then parallax issues galore. So I was parallaxed for that first target, and as you saw in the footage, every other target was pretty blurry. So a lot of things I could have done differently. I would go with a sort of one bag solution, really. Just keep the gear simple, and I would just take that bag, turn it sideways so it makes a nice flat purchase on both the barrel and the sawhorse. get down on the balance point of the rifle, maybe put my hand on top of the scope, engage the targets this way. It's going to be much faster transitions off a bag than a rigid bipod and rear bag setup. Take that bag off, drop it down, use that as the prone position. The bipod's all the way forward, so it's not interfering with the barrel, especially if you're on the side of it. So you already have the bipod deployed for prone. Use that same bag as rear support. Engage the two targets, move to the sawhorse, bag on its side on top of the sawhorse, put it down, engage 3 rounds, back to prone, and then back to the barrel for the last 2 rounds. I think that would have saved a lot of efficiency of movement and time on the stage, and that would have probably led me to make better impacts on some of those targets. Stage 2 was the rooftop stage, and here I actually think it does make sense. Bipod front, rear bag. We're just going to work our way down the rooftop and back up, 2 shots each, large then small. And because it's only a single target and we're not panning and trying to find targets, as long as your initial kind of set the rifle down, natural point of aim is towards that target, you're not going to have to make a lot of swinging adjustments that might mess you up. It does help that if you have a bipod that can actually tilt back and forth, cant side to side, and it does help to kind of splay one leg out further than the other so you can get the rifle into a more upright position. And this is a Caldwell bipod. It's a Harris clone, and even this one has the ability, we can just take one of the legs and put it out like this, so you kind of follow that angle of the rooftop. So something like, even something as simple as this, most bipods, you just stick one leg out all the way and the other one, make it as short as you can, and that will help you get a stable position where the rifle is upright. It's one distance, one bank of targets, large and small, so it's pretty straightforward. I took my time here and was able to clean this one.
Stand by.
Oh, no, that counts down. It just
64.
Trigger's off. But with the suppressor, it might have a
Yeah, you all got to do this.
Okay. Yeah, it'll count down as it goes.
Yeah.
That's like a version.
72.
Oh, yeah, the shotgun.
All right. Apologies.
No worries.
Want to make ready?
Impact.
88. Impact.
Alright. Just wait till this. Hopefully that'll get it.
100.
Let me trade those to you back here. I'll tell you that.
It'll count down. Don't worry.
At least all loaded already?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here.
Over, you should be able to see.
Oh, there
Two.
they go.
Impact.
So those are kind of by
One, three, five, prone, 2, 4, and then back to the barrel.
Impact.
Yeah.
It isn't, oh my god, it's just a...
Yeah.
Impact.
They're in their own
Alright.
like lines.
Sector.
Yeah.
You need to make my gun.
I've never even looked for your gun.
Watch, it's going to be...
Roll clean, right?
Hold it, big guy.
What's that?
Hold it.
Impact.
You just take a side picture.
Impact.
Watch it clean on 10.
Good shooting, sir.
Stage 3 is our tank trap stage and the time stage. So it's no L time like the present. We have a single bank of targets at a single distance. So we're going to dial and parallax for that target. Relatively straightforward. Everyone should be pretty familiar with the tank trap stage here. What's interesting about this one is they finally let us choose the orders. There's 2 schools of thought here. One is if you're going for time, you kind of want to move in a clockwise or counterclockwise pattern. And generally speaking, you want to do the center last and you want to end up on the tip that kind of funnels right into the center. So you can go, tip 1, tip 2, tip 3, slide into the center for the 4th position. Given my performance on the first stage, not doing too well, I knew I probably wasn't in the hunt like I was last month for, trying where tiebreakers would, make or break my place in the standings. So out here I was just going to make hits. And this is the second school of thought is start on your most stable position, which for most people is generally the center. So I'm going to put a bag down in the center, and I have a bag attached to the rifle. And the reason I put a bag down in the center is to take up some of that space so it's not as awkward, and you have more room to manipulate the rifle, manipulate the bolt. Gives you a little bit higher purchase. The tank trap at this club is a little shorter than most. I think it's 5-foot leg sections, so I'm able to actually kneel at most of these positions. If you have 6-foot legs, usually I'm in a standing position. The bad thing about Phoenix Rod and Gun Club is that the 100-yard targets are placed on top of the berm. So if you miss, it goes all the way over the berm, and it's very hard to spot where you missed. But it goes another 50, 70 yards before it actually hits dirt. So it's hard to make corrections if you do miss. So it's imperative that you kind of follow through and try and see the shot if it does miss the target. So I wasn't going for time here. But just stuck to my game plan. Started on the center, tried to get a good wind call. There wasn't much wind, so it's mostly straight up the whole time. And then it was just trying to break clean shots, moving around the tank traps.
Stand by. Go. Here to far. Indianapolis is not too quick. Impact.
Damn it.
Impact. 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 Got 7? Yeah.
Well, not bad for not my gun.
Not bad.
Take it.
Impact.
I'm so used to having my red dot for target acquisition.
Yeah.
I'm so much faster with that.
Yeah, and having a scope that's like a different height from yours too. It's all
Yeah, like I can't see the reticle with my back on this, so I'm kind
Right.
of holding it.
right.
Cool.
Impact. Nice. Shooting Tex. Thank you. Are you ready? Impact.
Oh, that was good. I mean, I hit. I think I did a hit, didn't I?
Yeah, you hit both KY.
I did, didn't I?
Yeah. It's the only thing that's kind of hard to rotate over though is if you stick. Impact.
I didn't have enough time.
Impact. I mean, if you weren't used to my bipod, it's not like a quick pull.
Towards the bottom below here, should we say?
Impact.
Bottom?
Impact. 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 What do you have yours on?
14 ounces.
Stage 4 is the pyramid stage, up and down the Christmas tree. Again, a single target at a single distance. So unlike the first crazy stage with all kinds of target engagements and weird orders and stuff, last 3 stages have been pretty simple in terms of targets. So here with the pyramid stage, again, it's 10 shots, 10 positions. We've seen stages like this before. If you're new to the sport, this is one of the new props for 2024 or even maybe 2023. And basically the positions are either the outside rungs, which I suggest you use, or the inside. Now, if you're shorter, or if you're not able to reach those top rungs, then you're going to have to use some of those inside rungs. And if you maybe have a bad back, bad knees, maybe you don't want to take the lower positions, which is typically a modified prone position. So if you have trouble getting out of those positions, either you want to end on those positions if you can, so it's less movement, or avoid them altogether. So I've seen multiple strategies, multiple different ways. But if you haven't built this prop, and I don't expect most people to have built this prop so they can practice at home, a 5-foot ladder or 6-foot ladder with 5 rungs basically imitates the different rungs of the pyramid. So most people have access to a ladder, and then you just have to figure out what works for you in terms of, is it a standing, is it a kneeling, is it 2 knees down, 1 knee down? There's plenty of other videos if you look at past matches where we use this prop. I like to work with gravity, going from top to bottom. So I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on the left side, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on the right side. That works for me. I'm tall enough to reach the top rung. If you're not, you're going to think about doing like 4, 3, 2, and then maybe another 4, 3, 2 on the other side, and then you're going to have to find 4 more positions either on the bottom or in the middle rungs that work for you. Other than that, it's relatively straightforward. It's a pretty generous size target, about 0.8 mils wide, and it's just about because it's 10 positions and it's 10 movements, it's about, backing off that magnification, quick target acquisition, and then making good clean hits. Not much to say about this stage.
Go.
What?
Mover's not moving.
You guys didn't shoot an impact.
Nope, we just walked in and it's not moving.
Did it near the far both ways?
Oh, you're supposed to be coming in. Your dice. Now you redo. I thought it was far on all positions.
Ended up being incorrect on that. It is I ended up having to hold left edge. Going, all of them ended up having to hold left edge. Although the dust behind was going that way, that's not true.
Did you manage to go down?
Well, your impacts right there, your last three were on left edge. Yeah, because it died. But the wind between us and the target is not the wind that's behind it, which is what the dust was doing.
That's these vortex optics ain't good enough to see the wind and the
We just shoot that's it.
Not me.
Really slowly.
I get them high, I can see it, but.
All right, let's go.
So on that last stage, I ended up dropping 1 point, and it actually made me think of something interesting that happened. I didn't know why the round was so far off until I got down to the next rung. So it was my third shot that I missed, and you can even hear me like, what's going on? Because it didn't make any sense in my mind. But what I noticed afterwards, especially when I got to the lower rung, is that because my rifle was tilted at an angle, the sunshade of my scope was actually wedged onto the rung above it. And then when the rifle recoils, it doesn't recoil a lot, but when it recoiled, it kind of just threw my rifle, created a pivot point, and it just threw my rifle backwards. Now that could be bad fundamentals and me not shouldering the rifle properly, but the fact that it was kind of pinned against that upper rung really sent that rung off. So when I dropped to the next rung, I realized that I was hitting my sunshade on my scope, so I actually moved it out a little further so that the scope and sunshade cleared the rung above it. I know a lot of people like to put their hand in between kind of their scope and the next rung for added stability, but for me, it really threw that round off. So that's never happened to me before, and it's something that I'm definitely going to pay attention to going forward. But other than that, we got one more stage to go. This is probably the second hardest stage of the match in terms of movement and sort of weird target order. So if you read the stage description, it says on the start signal, engage the targets with one shot each, large to small in the following order. So from the cinder blocks, you're going near to far. From the chair seat, you're going far to near. And from the tire stack, you're going near to far. The large to small refers to the KYL rack at 47 yards. It's always engaged large to small. Doesn't matter if you're going near to far or far to near. And I think that might have tripped some people up. So people might have gotten some wrong target calls. That's an easy way to drop points. And just remembering that and making a mental note and what you're going to do in terms of like large to small every single time, just making sure that because usually it's like up and then you come back the opposite order. But here it's always large KYL, then small KYL. So I'm pretty sure that was going to trip some people up. So make sure you're not one of those people. Other than that, didn't do too great on this stage. Dropped a bunch of points. The tires are always the wild card, super wobbly. I brought a bunch of extra bags thinking I was going to get super stable. Probably a one bag solution and just, making good contact. In most of these can be achieved through some sort of kneeling position. So in kneeling position, one bag, and just making sure that your elbow is, touching your thigh or something, maybe a pump pillow. But I brought a bunch of stuff trying to create rear support. It worked on the cinder blocks. For some reason, did not work on the chair whatsoever. And didn't really work on the tire stack too much either. This is another one where I did time out, so I was just not finding targets quickly. Should have backed off the magnification again and, you know, spent more time getting stable than looking for targets. So let's see how this one went.
Yeah. 96. We need a timer. I assume if you get to the end, you get the smallest one again. No, it says. No, and then you go back to large and then small. Get back. And then I can grab it. Get back. All the way through in there. Yeah, 8, 9. Thank you.
All right, got the can off.
Okay. So we can start with the ammo and
Is Wayne got his?
get back.
If I'd have known, I'd have brought my high pressure DG meter.
Get back.
Don't worry, I got one. Right there. We're gonna video this and put it on YouTube.
On the thermal channel.
What?
See.
That's when you want to go shoot it.
So,
I think what we always do is when he finds even if I don't have to.
get back. Run through the fuck out. Make sure you're all fucked up.
Yeah.
Impact.
Once you figure it out, though, it's not. So first,
Impact.
we do a drill. And when you're not one of us returns, go back to
You go back to the large, this, and then the smallest. That's 9 and 10. Okay, so
So that wraps up the match. Again, very difficult with that low winter sun kind of just cresting over the South Mountain there and shooting right into your face. Not a very pleasant time trying to find targets and through all that glare. As far as scores goes, I finished 7th overall with 87% of the winner's score. The top two kind of ran away with it, and then there was basically a 4-way tie on points for third place. So that came down to the tiebreaker, and then everybody else. So it's above that 85% goal, but pretty upset with the performance, and I definitely could have done the stages a little bit differently, especially that first stage. Definitely go with a 1-bag solution, and probably a 1-bag solution again. Just simplify the gear, focus on finding targets fast, and being able to get stable instead of trying to overcomplicate things. I think those are the downfalls of those two stages, and that's where I lost the majority of my points. So if I do attend another match, I'm definitely going to take those tips and tricks into the next match, use that experience, and try it the other way. And so let me know what you're going to do at your match. And yeah, I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully these helps. I'll be back to normally scheduled programming, putting out a video a day for each of the stages for January. I'll make sure I double my efforts to do that again. Sorry for this being late and not in its usual format, or maybe you like this format. Let me know down in the comments. While you're down there, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until I see you next time, as always, score more points.